Alright then guys, welcome back to the channel. Turki Alalshik, the man of the moment, the man of the hour, the man that is making the biggest fight happen in boxing, has made a list of fights that he wants to see, but also the fights that he wants to make in 2025. And in this video, we're going to discuss the fights. I want you to get in the comment section. Let me know what you think about the fights. Which fights do you think is the biggest fight? Which fights do you want to see the most? What are your predictions? What do you think about everything that we're going to talk about in this video? Now, before we start, please do me a favor. Click the like button, subscribe, and leave your comments in the section below, because what you do allow the channel to grow, and I really, really appreciate you guys. So, Turkey wants to make Canelo versus Crawford. Now, this is a great fight. Do you know what? Canelo versus Crawford is one of those fights that would be in people's fantasy fights. You know, like we say, we want to see Usyk versus Ali, and who would win. We discuss these things. I think it's one of those fights. Of course, we're never going to see Usyk versus Ali. We don't know what would happen because it would never happen. But, you know, it's one of those fights that people will talk about for years to come if it doesn't happen. So I think it's a fantastic fight. I think it needs to happen if they can make it happen. Now, Crawford is coming up in weight. Crawford has been incredible so far. 3-weight world champion, has become undisputed. Canelo is a pit bull. Canelo hits so hard. Canelo has gone all the way to light heavyweight and defeated Kovalev. So it's a great fight, but I think it's a dangerous fight for Crawford. Although Crawford is an incredible fighter, very skilled, southpaw, he can hit himself. But of course, you know, moving up in weight, Canelo has got the punch advantage there, the punch power advantage there. And I think, if this fight happens, Canelo is likely to do more damage in this fight. But, as I said, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And then you've got Usyk versus Daniel Dubois too. Now, this is an interesting fight because if you ask me, Usyk has defeated Dubois, and Usyk do not need to fight Dubois again. I don't think he needs to. But Dubois has the IBF, which Usyk vacated. Usyk has the rest of the belts. So it's only right that they fight if Dubois can come through Joseph Parker fight. And I made a video talking about how Dubois is looking overconfident and, having a false confidence, which is a video that you can check on my channel. I think it's a great fight if, once again, Dubois overcomes Joseph Parker, which is not an easy fight for Dubois anyway. But, I think Usyk will take any fight. We know he is, a throwback fighter. He takes any fight that he can get, fighting on the road. He's an incredible champion. He's a remarkable fighter, Usyk. And I think he's going to overcome Daniel Dubois again. Unless, of course, this is heavyweight boxing and one punch can change anything. And unless Usyk gets old overnight, that is when I think Dubois has got any chance of beating Usyk. But you never know. This is boxing. Anything can happen. And then the next fight is Fury versus AJ. Now, I have got a video coming for this fight where I talk a bit in detail. I talk about Fury's chances, AJ's chances, and I talk about how this fight will determine both fighters' legacy. But this is a great fight. We've been wanting to see this fight for ages. In the UK, this is all we talk about. Fury has taken his losses. Joshua has taken his losses. But it's still a great fight. It's still probably the biggest fight in British boxing history. Commercially, it will sell out Wembley, right? It is an interesting fight for both fighters. Whoever wins this fight, have something really, really great to put on your resume and to add to their legacy. So it's a really, really good fight. And although I think it's a meaningless fight in terms of, titles and what it means for jeopardy, and I'm really excited about this fight, and I hope Turkey can make it happen. And then the next fight is Garcia versus Haney. Now, this is an interesting one. Ryan Garcia was using drugs, against Devin Haney in the first fight. these guys, they know each other from the amateurs. They fight each other. They are very familiar with each other. Massive, guys in the US in terms of commercially and putting funds in seats. So it was definitely a very good fight in the first fight. Garcia overcame, Haney because of, I think, his power and his speed. And I don't think Haney realized that Garcia has improved over the years since he knew him from the amateurs. So it was a really, really, really interesting fight to see, to watch, and see how things develop. Of course, both fighters, before the fight happened, their families and their teams were also going back and forth with each other, which are all things that make boxing quite interesting to see and how things develop. So this fight, I'd love to see again. Of course, there has to be a very strict drug testing, sort of program around this fight, because we can't have Ryan Garcia, popping for drugs, or Haney taking drugs because he wants to take revenge. I don't think he would do that. We want this fight to be two fighters fighting that are not on drugs and putting their best foot forward. And I think if they fight, it's going to be really interesting to see who comes out on top, because they're both really, really good fighters. But I think Ryan Garcia just edges this fight a little bit because he's got the power and he's got the speed and he's got that left hook, which is incredible. Devin Haney is a very good boxer, very upright, a very, fundamentally sound fighter. And I think that's where his advantages come from. So it's a really interesting fight, and I would definitely love to see it this year if Turkey can make it happen. And then the last fight that Turkey want to make this year is Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. Now, I've just made a video and I've published that video about how Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. are dragging this fight for way too long with Eddie Hearn, which I think, this fight don't need to be dragged too long for the fact that I don't think this is a super fight. I think this is a big fight, but it's not a super fight, right? Chris Eubank Jr. feels that he's the A side, which is true because he's fought the most, established fighters in the division. Conor Benn is an up-and-coming guy. He's fought some good fighters, but nowhere near what Eubank Jr. has done. So he's the A side. But my problem is that when they keep dragging this fight for so long, people are going to be less interested in it. We can see what happened with Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. We knew that Joshua was the A side, but because of ego, the fight did not happen. And I just feel like I see this Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn fight going the same way. So if Turkey can come in and get these two fighters fighting each other without the egos, it could be a good fight. If Chris Eubank Jr.'s father, Chris Eubank Sr., can get involved in this fight and do the promotion, I think it could be a mega fight. But I don't think it's that much of a bigger fight to the point where, none of these fighters want to put their egos aside and make that fight happen. But I think Turkey can make this fight happen, and it can make it happen quick. So look, really, really interesting fights list that Turkey has made. I think 2025 is going to be a better year. We've already got the February 22nd fight, which I think is the greatest card of all time that's coming up. And then Turkey is looking to make these fights as well. So as a boxing fan, I'm really excited. I'm happy that, guys like Turkey have come in and want to make the best fights for boxing, to grow the sport and to advance the sport and to get the sport back to where it belongs. But you guys, let me know what you think about these fights in the comment section below. As always, guys, I appreciate your support. Thank you very much for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.